The Small Community Air Service Development Program was created 20 years or so ago in order to help communities our size increase competition amongst the airlines. When you're a community our size, you don't necessarily have the weight in your market demand to be able to go to the airlines and insist on new service and insist on new flights. And the airlines tend to look for then ways that we can make it more economical for them, in ways that we can provide incentives or marketing support, or in this case what we're going to be doing is a revenue guarantee. The SCASD grant is important because it allows communities our size to step up and encourage competition at the level that larger airports are able to encourage the same amount of competition. There's a lot of federal regulations which do not allow us as an airport to use money to do those type of competitive incentives. The SCASD program is one of the areas where we're actually allowed to do that through the grant that we get through the U.S. Department of Transportation. So to be successful in applying for the Small Community Air Service Grant, we need to send to the U.S. Department of Transportation the route that we think will be most successful in the grant. We can choose any route we want when we apply for this grant, but if we're going to earn the grant and get the grant as we did, we need to show them a route that really makes sense. Chicago is one of our top markets that people want to go not only to, but that people are able to travel through to get to other places. Chicago is a market that's high in our rank, and we did have airlines saying they'd be willing to support in our grant application. So in other words, Chicago made the best sense to ensure that we got the grant. Being able to connect to the rest of the world is incredibly important when it comes to economic development. You need to be able to get out to the rest of the world. We're not only a national economy now, we're a global economy. And for the Tri-Cities to be a part of that global economy, we have to be able to easily, quickly, and affordably be able to get out to the rest of the world. Increasing those opportunities through additional service and additional destinations really enhances our ability to be an economic player, not only in the region, but also in the whole nation and in the whole world, in a way in which we can really incentivize business to operate here, business to move here, and then we can also keep the money that people want to spend here in our local regional economy, providing opportunities for people to travel into our region in ways that they haven't had those opportunities before. To really start attracting more inbound people coming in from around the world, enjoying our location, bringing in their families, spending their money here, having a great economic impact on our region, they need to be able to get here. And right now we're in a situation where we have more demand of just the people that live here coming and going than we have available service on the airlines. Increasing air service, especially through a market like Chicago, will highly increase the availability of people to be able to come here from those areas. We can advertise in Chicago, hey, come to Tri-Cities, it's a beautiful place. Come to Northeast Tennessee, it's a wonderful area. And be able to then support that through the seats that are flying in and out of those markets. And then that goes on to any place in the world that Chicago connects out of. So there's a lot of reasons why the community support is incredibly important in a grant like this. First of all, this is a small community air service grant. It's not a small airport grant, it's a small community. So when the US DOT looks at this, they want to see that the community is behind this and the community is supporting it. We get that community support through things like the financial involvement, through the letters of support, through the in-kind support, and all of that is incredibly important when it comes to applying for a grant like this and showing the US DOT that not just the airport but the whole community that we support is serious about their efforts here. The second reason it's so important is because it really shows the way that this community, as far reaching as we are, we're able to come together on a common cause and really make something work that's important for all of us, no matter where you live within our region. And it really shows the way we can come together and support something that's incredibly important for our whole area. The biggest challenge to securing the new air service is just the availability of the resources that the airlines have. The Chicago hub is a primary hub for American and United, but several other airlines work in and out of there. And we need to target the airlines that go in and out of Chicago, that operate in and out of Chicago, and we need to also target the airlines that have the availability to be able to add new service. As you know, right now there's a huge pilot shortage, there's a mechanic shortage. The availability of resources to be able to fulfill that flight is one of our biggest challenges. So what we need to be able to do with this grant is go to the airlines and show them that we're able to put enough money and enough funds behind there that they can be profitable when they reallocate those resources from another market into this market. They're not going to be able to just add the new service without affecting somewhere else that they fly. So we need to show them, and we need to show them through this grant and through the community support, when they reallocate those resources from another city, another community, and they put it here, that we're going to be able to be more profitable and more advantageous to their entire network than that other community where they're going to have to pull service out of. The other thing that is imperative to say to everyone that listens to this is that getting the grant and being able to obtain new service is wonderful. But if we're going to keep that new service and we're going to sustain the service, we need people to make sure they're dedicated to flying the Tri-City Airport. If you live, work, play in this region, if you're bringing people in from other places into this region, you need to always make flying Tri-Cities your first choice. We all understand that sometimes you're going to have to go somewhere else. We don't have enough seats here to fit everyone who wants to fly. But we always want to make sure you're making this your first choice, and that if you need to fly somewhere, you're choosing Tri-Cities when you fly. That helps us, it helps your community, it helps your business, it helps the place you work for, it helps everyone when you dedicate yourself to making sure when you travel, you're flying Tri-City Airport. This grant absolutely does not guarantee that we will get new service to Chicago or anywhere else. The grant is a great opportunity for us to go and try to attract that new service, and we are specifically targeting Chicago, as we said, because that's the best bet for securing this grant. However, for us to be able to get that route and get the new service into Chicago, a lot of things have to happen. The airlines have to be able to do it. The pilot shortage is an issue, the mechanic shortage is an issue, and they have to be able to have those resources that they can assign here to the Tri-Cities for that route. To be able to make that happen, we need that continued support from the community, that not only that they gave us to secure the grant, but the support and that they will continue to fly that service once it's here, that they will utilize it and that they will make it successful. And that's one of the things that I think the airlines are really going to look at when we try to go talk to them about getting this new service. They're going to be very glad that we got the grant, but they're going to want to know that the people who live here are going to use that flight when it comes in. And we're going to have to be able to tell them that everybody will fly it and that it will be successful. And that's when we can get much closer to saying we know we'll have it. But right now, there's no guarantees. We constantly talk to the airlines. We go to meetings with them 3 or 4 times a year. We reach out to them on other occasions. And one of the things they are always telling us is that we're competing against communities all over the country that are coming together and offering revenue guarantees, marketing guarantees, all sorts of things. And that becomes a real challenge for us when we're talking to the airlines, because we need to be able to go to them and say we can do the same thing. And that's where the SCASD grant really helps us in that. And we're constantly always working with the airlines, and this is going to give us one more tool to be able to go to them and say, yeah, we can provide a revenue guarantee as well. Chicago is important because it's not just where we're trying to go to, it's all the places we can get to beyond. Chicago has connections not just all over the country, but all over the world, and that will increase the availability of seats, the availability of connections, and in the long run, because of supply versus demand, it will lower the prices for all of the routes in and out of our area, which benefits everybody because it's cheaper ticket costs then. Most importantly, I want to say that we never would have gotten this grant if it wasn't for the full support that we got from everybody in the region. The list of people, organizations, community actors that have helped us through pledges of financial support, through pledges of in-kind support, and through just support through letter writing and everything else they've done, the list is just very lengthy. There's no end to the number of people who got behind and tried to help this grant be a possibility. And our gratitude goes out to each and every one of them. We're incredibly thankful for all that they've done, and we look forward to continuing to work with them as we continue to try to build air service as we continue to build the loyalty these people have towards our airport, and as we continue to build the awareness of this resource that is right here in their backyard, ready to be used by them for everything they need to do when it comes to travel.